What happens when you win everything on live television and then lose it all behind closed doors? She won a $5 million recording contract on live television. A 17-year-old girl from a tiny Caribbean island stood on that stage, beat 300,000 contestants, and had the entire music industry at her feet. Simon Cowell himself called her a superstar.
I was asked by a lot of people why I was bringing this show to America. It was because I hoped that we were going to find someone like you.
Ellie Reed promised her the world. America voted her the winner. And then she vanished. This isn't a success story. This is a cautionary tale about broken promises, crushing disappointment,
and what happens when the dream you've been sold turns into a nightmare you can't escape.
June 26, 1992. That's when Melanie Ann Amaro was born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to parents who'd immigrated from the British Virgin Islands. But she grew up in Tortola, a small island where everyone knew everyone, where opportunities were limited, and where a girl with a massive voice had dreams bigger than the Caribbean Sea could contain. From childhood, Melanie could sing, not just carry a tune, she could sang. That deep, powerful, gospel-infused voice that makes you stop mid-conversation and ask, who is that? She grew up singing in church, performing at local events, being told by everyone who heard her that she was destined for greatness. But how do you get discovered on an island with more beaches than recording studios? The answer came in 2011 when she auditioned for the first season of the X Factor USA, Simon Cowell's new competition show promising to find America's next superstar. The show had a massive budget, major label backing, and a $5 million recording contract for the winner, the largest prize in reality competition history at that time. Melanie's audition was stunning. She sang Aretha Franklin's Thank, and the judges' jaws dropped. Simon Cowell, notoriously hard to impress, was blown away. L.A. Reid, legendary music executive, saw a star. Paula Abdul and Nicole Scherzinger were equally impressed. Melanie sailed through to the live shows, and week after week, she delivered performances that had people predicting her victory from the start. But then came a twist that would become reality TV legend. During the boot camp round, Melanie was sent home. Simon Cowell told her she wasn't ready. The girl who'd been a frontrunner was suddenly eliminated. She flew back to Tortola, heartbroken, convinced her shot was over. Except Simon Cowell couldn't stop thinking about her. In an unprecedented move, he flew to Tortola personally to bring her back to the competition.
I wanted to personally apologize to you and your family for the mistake I made.
Cameras captured the moment, Melanie opening her door to see Simon Cowell standing there, telling her he'd made a mistake, that she belonged in the competition.
We're going to ask you to come back and enter the competition. We want you back on the live shows.
All right.
It was the kind of dramatic moment reality TV dreams are made of.
Oh, wow. I would never think that after that I would be here in this position right now, you know?
Melanie returned and dominated. She delivered show-stopping performances week after week. Her rendition of Listen by Beyoncé had people comparing her to Queen Bee herself.
You gave to me, but now I gotta find my own.
You are truly amazing, honey. You have the gift, you have the soul, you have the spirit.
Her take on Aretha Franklin's songs was so powerful that even Aretha's biggest fans had to acknowledge this girl had something special. On December 22, 2011, Melanie Amaro was crowned the winner of the X Factor USA Season 1.
Melanie Amaro!
She beat Josh Krycek and Chris Renz in the finale, taking home that legendary $5 million recording contract with Epic Records and Psycho Music, plus a Pepsi commercial deal worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. At just 19 years old, she'd won the biggest prize in reality competition history. The world was hers. The coronation song was Don't You Worry About a Thing by Stevie Wonder, and Melanie's version was immediately released. It charted, got radio play, and everything seemed perfect. She appeared on talk shows, performed at major events, and was being positioned as the next big R&B star. L.A. Reid himself was executive producing her debut album.
I met with LA and he's so excited to work with me, as well as I'm so excited to work with him.
Simon Cowell was backing her. What could go wrong?
Everything. Absolutely everything. The problems started almost immediately. Despite the massive contract, her debut album kept getting delayed. Months turned into a year turned into 2. While other reality show winners were releasing albums and touring, Melanie was stuck in development hell. There were whispers of creative differences, of the label not knowing how to market her, of songs being recorded and scrapped repeatedly. Finally, in 2013, nearly 2 years after her win, Melanie released her debut single, Don't Fail Me Now. It was a decent R&B track, but it lacked the impact needed to launch a superstar. The song barely made a dent on the charts, peaking at a disappointing position that suggested the momentum from her X Factor win had completely evaporated. She released a few more singles, Love Me Now
Come love me now.
and Long Distance,
Then I just want you to be.
but none caught fire. The album that was supposed to make her a household name never materialized. Epic Records seemed to lose interest, or perhaps they never had a real plan to begin with. The $5 million contract that sounded so impressive on television, most of it was tied up in recording costs, marketing, and other expenses that never happened because the project kept stalling. By 2014, just 3 years after her massive win, Melanie Amaro had effectively disappeared from the music industry. No album, no tour, no hit singles, just a collection of what-ifs and could-have-beens. The girl who'd beaten 300,000 contestants was now just another cautionary tale about reality TV promises. But here's where it gets really painful. Melanie didn't give up quietly. She tried to keep working, keep creating, keep fighting for the career she'd been promised. In 2016, she released an independent single, Wanna Be Together. It was a good song, showing her vocal prowess was still intact, but without major label backing, it went nowhere. She appeared on the X Factor again in 2013 to perform, reminding audiences of what they'd loved about her. But it felt like watching a ghost, the winner who should have been conquering the world, reduced to a nostalgic cameo on the show that discovered her. So what happened? Why did a talent this massive, with this much backing, completely fail to launch? The answers are complicated and reveal the ugly truth about the music industry and reality TV. First, Epic Records and LA Reid apparently had no real plan for her. Despite the hype, despite the promises, they didn't know how to position a young black R&B singer with a powerhouse voice in a market increasingly dominated by pop and hip-hop. They kept trying to find the right sound, the right image, and in doing so, wasted precious time and momentum. Second, the $5 million contract was largely smoke and mirrors. Most of that money was allocated for recording costs, marketing, and production expenses the label controls. If they don't actually release your music or properly promote it, you never see most of that money. Melanie has never publicly detailed exactly how much she received, but industry insiders suggest it was a fraction of what the contract promised. Third, timing matters in music. By the time Epic was ready to push Melanie, the moment had passed. The X Factor buzz had died, new artists had emerged, the industry had moved on. In music, if you don't strike while the iron is hot, the iron goes cold permanently. There were also rumors, never confirmed but persistently whispered, of creative conflicts between Melanie's team and the label. Some suggested she was difficult to work with, though others countered that she was simply advocating for herself against a label that didn't respect her vision. The truth probably lies somewhere in between. Melanie largely stepped away from public life after 2016. She occasionally posts on social media, giving fans glimpses into her life, but she's not actively pursuing mainstream music success anymore. She's performed at small venues, done some independent releases, and by all accounts is living a quieter life away from the spotlight that promised so much and delivered so little. As of 2025, Melanie Amaro's net worth is estimated at around $1 million, a far cry from the $5 million contract she won. Most of that wealth likely comes from the Pepsi deal and whatever advances she received before Epic gave up on her project. It's a comfortable living, but it's not the superstar wealth that seemed inevitable that night in December 2011. The personal toll has been significant too. Melanie has spoken in limited interviews about the depression and disappointment that followed her career collapse. She went from the highest of highs, winning on national television, to the crushing reality that the music industry doesn't care about talent if they can't figure out how to monetize it. That kind of whiplash destroys people. She's been largely single and private about her personal life, though she's hinted at relationships that didn't work out, possibly strained by the pressure and disappointment of her career struggles. She's never married and has no children publicly known. Her focus, when she's discussed it at all, has been on healing and finding peace outside of the music industry machine. Currently, Melanie Amaro lives a relatively quiet life. She's not touring, not releasing major projects, not making headlines. She occasionally performs at private events or small venues, reminding those lucky enough to hear her that the talent that won X Factor never disappeared. It was just never given the platform it deserved. There have been no major controversies or scandals in Melanie's story, which is almost tragic in itself. She wasn't derailed by drugs, bad behavior, or personal drama. She was simply failed by an industry that made promises it had no intention of keeping. She did everything right, won the competition, had the talent, showed up ready to work, and still got nothing in return. So what's Melanie doing now? Based on her sporadic social media presence, she's focused on living life on her own terms.
Happy birthday to you. Take a jump, shorty. Good job, man.
She's not chasing the spotlight anymore. She's not begging for label deals or fighting for attention. She seems to have made peace with the fact that her story didn't have the ending everyone expected. She got the crown, but never got the kingdom. She was promised $5 million and a career and got neither in any meaningful way. It's one of the most heartbreaking stories in reality TV history, made worse by the fact that it could have been prevented if the people in charge had actually cared about the artist instead of just the spectacle. The girl from Tortola who dared to dream big learned the hardest lesson. Sometimes winning isn't enough. Sometimes the game is rigged from the start. Sometimes the prize is a lie. And sometimes the only victory left is survival, finding a way to live with disappointment and still hold your head high. That's where Melanie Amaro is now. Not a superstar, not forgotten entirely, but somewhere in between. A reminder of what could have been, and a warning about what happens when talent meets an industry with no soul.